They welded the new iron gate shut just before sunrise, convinced they'd boxed me out of my own property. The HOA crew stood there, proud, snapping photos like they'd restored order. I didn't argue. I only smiled, because while they celebrated closing me off, they never realized the gate wasn't even real. My name's Daniel, and all I ever wanted was a quiet home with space to breathe. After 20 years of city noise, my wife and I bought a stretch of land just outside a lake community perfect for gardening, weekend barbecues, and a little workshop I'd been dreaming about for years. Our property line sat right beside a neighborhood run by the Haven Ridge HOA, famous for its endless rules about grass height and mailbox colors. Technically, my land wasn't under their control. But it shared the same access road that ran through the neighborhood. At first, things were cordial. The HOA president, Marla, waved when we moved in. A few of the residents even stopped by to say hello. But that friendliness didn't last long. It started with small notes on my fence, "Please coordinate with HOA for road maintenance." Then letters about unauthorized driveway usage. Finally, a formal notice claiming my gate blocked community access. I replied each time with polite explanations and copies of the deed that clearly showed the road was shared use. Still, the warnings kept coming. Then one morning, while I was out running errands, the HOA made their boldest move yet, installing a brand new gate across my driveway, complete with their logo welded in the center. When I came home, I couldn't even pull in. Marla arrived 10 minutes later with a clipboard and that sharp little smile only HOA presidents can perfect. "Good afternoon, Daniel," she said, like she hadn't just sealed off my driveway. "We've decided to secure this access point for community safety." Community safety? I asked. "That's my driveway." She nodded briskly. "According to our boundary survey, this portion of the road falls under HOA maintenance jurisdiction. We can't have open access, it encourages trespassing." I took a breath. "Marla, the city deed says otherwise." "I can show you the papers again." She waved her pen. "I'm sure you believe that. But until our committee reviews it, the gate stays. Tampering with it could result in a citation." And just like that, she turned and left, confident she'd won. I called the county records office that evening. The clerk confirmed my property extended 2 full meters beyond where the HOA had built the gate. It wasn't even close. But I didn't want a shouting match or legal threats. I wanted peace. So instead of tearing down the gate, I started sketching out a plan, one that would let the HOA expose their own mistake. Over the next week, I worked quietly. My friend Leo, a contractor, helped me build a second gate, lightweight aluminum painted to match the one the HOA installed. We placed it 10 feet back, hidden behind a row of old oak trees. The HOA's official gate looked solid, but it didn't actually block my real entrance. I'd rerouted a narrow gravel path through the trees straight to the workshop. I even added a small motion sensor on their gate that sent me a phone alert every time someone stopped to admire their achievement. And people did stop, Marla especially. She'd bring visitors to show them the new safety feature. I kept tending my garden, mowing my grass, and hauling supplies to my shop, always out of view until the trucks disappeared. By the time they realized my property looked freshly maintained, it was too late to figure out how. Still, I knew this wouldn't end until they faced facts. So I made sure those facts would be undeniable. A few weeks later, the HOA held their monthly meeting. Marla proudly announced that the unauthorized access issue had been resolved. Her slideshow even included a photo of the shiny new gate, captioned, "Securing our neighborhood." I sat quietly in the back. When she opened the floor for comments, I raised my hand. "Just curious," I said. "Who paid for the gate?" She smiled. "The HOA, of course. Community funds." "And did you verify the boundary lines before building it?" Her expression flickered. "Our committee reviewed maps. Because according to the county, the gate sits 2 meters inside my property." I slid a folder onto the table, survey reports, legal boundaries, time-stamped photos. Gasps filled the room. Marla stammered, "That can't be right." "I agree," I said calmly. "Which is why I invited the city surveyor to stop by tomorrow.
We can all watch him confirm it."
The room fell silent.
She ended the meeting early. The next afternoon, a city truck rolled up.
Marla and 2 board members were waiting, arms folded, determined to prove me wrong.
The surveyor greeted us, set up his tripod, and began measuring. It took 15 minutes.
Then he turned to Marla. "Ma'am," he said, "this gate and the fence posts beside it are both located inside Mr. Hall's property line.
You'll need to remove them or face a fine." Her jaw tightened. There must be some mistake.
"No mistake," the surveyor replied.
I checked twice. I stepped forward, trying to keep my tone light. "It's okay, Marla. Honestly, I didn't mind the look of the gate. That's why I built one of my own." She blinked. "You what?"
I pointed toward the oaks. From the other side, Leo drove my truck down the hidden path, through the real entrance. Neighbors who'd gathered nearby started laughing as they realized the truth: the HOA's expensive barrier had been guarding nothing but weeds.
Marla turned red. "You made a decoy?" "Not exactly," I said. "I just didn't want to damage community property while you sorted things out."
The surveyor smiled faintly.
"That was patient of you." Marla didn't reply.
She just watched her board members start unbolting the gate they'd celebrated for weeks. 2 days later, every homeowner in Haven Ridge received a notice from the city. The HOA was fined for unapproved construction on private property and required to reimburse community funds used for the project. At the following board election, Marla quietly stepped down for personal reasons. Her replacement, a retired teacher named Helen, knocked on my door the next morning with a smile and an apology. "Mr. Hall," she said, "the new board would like to cover the cost of repairing any damage." "There's no damage," I told her. "But maybe next time, check the boundaries before building." She laughed. "Fair enough." A few weeks later, Helen invited me to help design a small community garden on neutral ground this time. I agreed, happy to turn the feud into friendship. Even the former HOA volunteers who'd installed the gate came by to help dig and plant. Sometimes the best revenge isn't about winning, it's about teaching. Now, every evening, I walk past the space where that gate once stood. The grass has grown back, and the only reminder is a faint rectangle in the dirt. I think about how easy it would have been to yell, threaten, or sue. But patience proved louder than anger. The neighbors wave now when I pass by. Some stop to chat about tomatoes, weather, or the next community barbecue. And every time I drive through my rail gate, tucked behind those oaks, I can't help but smile. Because that whole mess started with a wall and ended with an open path. Final line. They tried to close me off, not realizing the gate they built was never meant to keep me out, it was meant to lead them in, to understanding.